All right, what's up, Panther City? So you know him, you love him, you've seen him there before, Mr. Jory Flores with Goosehead Insurance. Jory, man, thanks for doing this, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man, of course. For those who don't know, this is Jory Flores with Goosehead Insurance, like I said. He's been one of our most consistent and awesome, amazing sponsors that we've had at our events. Really just makes it possible for us to do the meetups, and we thank you so much. Like it's just
Yeah,
a
no problem, and happy to. Always a good group of people there. Always everybody, super friendly. Better than most events ever.
That's I like that. I
For
appreciate it.
sure. Yeah, not a waste of time.
Well, for those of us who don't know, man, for real, like just kind of go into your story, man. How did you end up at Goosehead? What do you do? Tell us about
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Goose had snagged me right out of college, out of Texas Tech, right? So if you
Nice,
can't
all
get your
right.
grades up, get your guns up. Don't hold that against me if you're from somewhere else. But, they got me out of college. I've been there for a while, helped build the corporate team, helped, get a lot of our processes kind of in order of how we do things now. And in 2023, they let me, get the keys to my own. I have my own franchise now. So I get the backing of a large corporation. So my premiums and we're competitive on everything, but also I own this franchise. So you do get that more personal touch of when you call me, I'm going to know who you are, right? I do have employees under me, but we're a smaller office, if that makes sense. We can handle any of the volume, but we do give it that personal touch. So you're not calling the 800 line,
Nice,
right?
man. No, and I think that's worth its weight in gold right there, man. I mean,
Absolutely.
and I'll speak to you a little bit. I've used you for my insurance for going on like
7 years.
7 years? Is it? Okay, you would know. You would know better
I
than me.
looked.
I love nice. Well played, sir. Yeah, but and then not only that, but I've referred my family. I mean, when I was in mortgage, I mean, you were my go-to, man. So, and it's not going to stop. I appreciate, not just the sponsorships, but just the friendship that we've garnered, the relationship we've built, and I think that speaks volumes about your character, and that's why we love having you around, brother.
Absolutely. It's always fun to win, right? But it's even, it's fun to win and it's also good that we can actually help people. And that's another thing with the owning my own, right? I think we all pay for insurance. If you don't buy insurance, the police will rip you out of the car till you do. So, I mean, hey, we all have to have it. But with that said, like the good thing about it is if you have something better and, we get connected with people, it's totally fine. Stick with that. You pay it every year. We'll get you next year, right? So that's usually why I think everybody's that kind of makes it a little bit easier at the start that we're just going to do what's in your best interest, and 9 times out of 10 we're always going to win.
Right.
But absolutely, and I mean, any questions you have, I'm happy to get into them and get into the processes. I don't want anybody holding up their head like a newborn baby because I do know insurance is not the funnest thing in the world, but we do all have to have it, right?
Right. No, and the fact, I mean, what I like about working with you specifically is just like the way you've broken it down for me is just,
Mhm.
I mean, you take me back to kindergarten, man. Like it's just, this is what it is. This is why it is. You can have it this way. I recommend this because of this. Do every time. And it's, I guess, and I know you're not one to boast about yourself, so that's why I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing right now. Like, I know that like you're looking out for me, like my pocketbook, my checkbook, right? Like I know that you're looking out for that. So when those renewals come up, yeah, I mean we all get the text messages from every like ex, that we had from insurance, right? It's like the
Yeah.
ex-girlfriend, like, hey, what's going on? I was just checking in. No.
See what's up.
Yeah, I had farmers the other day like texted me and I was like, you guys were so bad. They were so bad at the time. Like, and that's when I switched from them to, and that's when I moved over to you. And dude, I've never looked back. Not even for a second.
Absolutely.
Not even for a second. So, but dude, so obviously, like our group is the majority are investors, right? Even
Hmm.
our real estate agents are doing investing and have rentals and stuff like that. One thing I wanted to talk about is having like an unoccupied building or domicile, I guess, insured
Hmm.
because I know that first off, everybody should have their property insured, like especially if it's not, nobody's living there. But
Absolutely.
what does that look like from your end? Like what is that process like? Or I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So what I always say on our end, I can make anything easy, but what's happening is important. Okay. And any of my clients, I don't want to make them pay a high premium for a long time, but if the home's vacant and we don't write it the right way, you're kind of paying for a whole lot of nothing, right? If something actually occurs at the home, we've got to pay out a claim. There's no point in doing any of this stuff unless it's right. So with the vacant homes, it's simply a higher risk because nobody's there. We've all heard the scary stories of somebody squatting in the house, right?
Sure.
Or maybe some teenagers are out and they know that that house is vacant and we're going to go tear it up, right? And have a fun
Right.
Friday. That kind of stuff actually does happen. And, any of the investors I've ever worked with, they sure hate to lose money, right? That is something we hate to do. So there is a fine line balance, right, between making sure the monthly number that we're paying, like I think investors are all about cash flow being profitable, but there is a fine line to walk between doing that and actually getting coverage that's going to pay out. With the vacant stuff, it's not complicated at all. It's just simply an eligibility factor that we need to report on our end so that if
Mhm.
anything happens, we're good, right? Is it a little bit extra? Yes, but it's totally worth it in case something does occur at the property because then we could lose our whole investment,
Yeah.
right?
No, that makes perfect sense, man. I mean, yeah, because I mean it's one thing to pay out of pocket a little bit, but to have a total loss and have nothing to recoup, dude. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know many people that would come back from that too easy.
Well, and that's where I try to put some common sense solutions to it too, right? Because like somebody who's their first time home buyer buying their primary home, we're probably going to need to add on some extra coverages for peace of mind, right? The investor, I can more have a different type of conversation to where I'll make sure they know their options, but I understand we got to keep this profitable, right? So there is a little bit of that, what we say white glove service to where we're not wasting their time and we kind of already know what they need, but we can guide them there.
Yeah. Well, and I mean the fact that I mean you yourself are a landlord, right? So you
Hmm.
get it, man. I mean, and I think that's a key factor that people need to also take into consideration. They need to work with people who know their plight, that know the ups and downs of, I mean, being a landlord is not for the faint of heart. It's just not. I mean, we know it just is what it is.
Yep.
But I
Yep. It
mean,
comes with its own challenges.
absolutely. It's good when it's good. It's bad when it's bad. It's just the way it goes. So what does it look like? So if let's just say like I'm gonna buy a house and I want to rent it out. Okay. And what does that process with you look like when I come to you and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing and I want to get a quote because I really need to figure out my numbers.
Absolutely. So typically we'll have a 20-minute call at most, right? And in that call, not only are we getting to know each other and I'm getting the info, but while we're having that conversation, I'm quoting it out. Luckily, we invest pretty heavily in technology to where this stuff will do a lot of the legwork for me, and then I can put my expertise to it and finalize it for us. So really what that would look like is, as soon as we hop on the phone, I'm gonna get grabbing that info from you, running the quotes. And it'll be a nice, easy conversation, but by the time we get to the end of it, I will have that solution ready. And like you said, where I break it down kind of very layman's terms,
Hmm.
it doesn't take too long. But once we go over these next steps, right? Here's the new policy. I'll explain the next steps of how we get this ready to go, lay it out nice and clear, and we move on. That first call with me is usually our most detailed one where I really take the time to go over it with you because the nice part is with these investors as they add on more properties, etc. We've done this rodeo before. It's not going to be a 20-minute phone call every single time because I know your info, I know what you're doing. Unless we got a crazy property, right? We've
Hmm.
all had those where we've got something
Right.
interesting going on. But, once that happens, like I said, I know your situation. Then you're just sending me property addresses sometimes and asking me, hey, what
Yeah,
does this
no,
look like?
that's
Right?
exactly
I
yeah.
got the, and I feel like a broken record. Ever since I've started working here, the number one thing you hear me say is that roof age, right? And if it's that is the one thing that can be a kicker is the roof age, okay?
That's
And
the
there's so many nuances with it. Some companies will let us depreciate the roof, so it makes the premium very low if the roof's older and that's not an issue. Sometimes we don't qualify for those companies, right? And that's kind of why it's not the same thing every time with a house. Clients will ask me that. We did this last time. This house is very
yeah.
similar in these characteristics. Why is it not the same? it just, there's multiple reasons that we could get into for that, but you can't put a square peg in a round hole.
There you
Okay.
go. Right.
And really, that's what it comes down to. But I just try to make it as simple as possible without opening too many cans of worms. But yeah, it's definitely interesting.
It does sound like that first conversation though is pretty vital though to getting
Hmm.
like really helping. It's like help me help you kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I
Exactly.
mean,
People sometimes want me to do it over email, which, to get us on the phone, I can do that, right? I mean, I have common sense with that, but truthfully, I mean, we just never would sell you a policy straight over email. You've got to give
sure.
us a call. We've got to verify some stuff with you. Also, though, that's usually where I find the discounts that end up saving us a ton of money, right? That's usually where I get that aha moment. Wait, we could do this with this, and this will save us that, right? So it's like with any investor, whenever you're looking at a property, usually the more you know about it, the more you can, you know, make this deal work. Or if you know more about it, you might go a little bit further whenever you might have backed off earlier, right?
Yeah.
Things like that, like how it works for investors, same way for me. More info is always gold.
Nice, man. No, and that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. All right, man. So, I mean, just kind of tell us, man, obviously, I mean, we've gone into it, but like tell me specifically, like what are you looking for? What can we provide to you? What would be the best?
Absolutely. Anybody that wants to do business with me for the years to come, right? I am in sales. I love to get a new client, but my goal is not to bring people over and then leave the next year. My goal is to bring people over and we do business together for years to come. Okay. And with that said, I do apologize. That was ringing. But with that said, we want to bring people over. And the nice thing about me being a broker is I'm going to get you a great rate that first year. But what if it goes up, right? Next year? I'm going to shop
Mhm.
that out for you, save you a ton of money. Truthfully, the thing that you guys could do the most for me to help is opportunities. I'm never going to ask somebody to switch over to me unless it makes sense. I'll take care of that part. I just need people to reach out, right? Give me a call asking for a quote, and from there, I can do the rest of the work and make it super easy. So you guys already provide me with that, but the opportunities is right. That's what we love in this business.
Awesome, man. Well, again, man, thank you for doing this. Again, I
No
mean
problem.
everything, man. I've truly appreciate our relationship. I appreciate the fact that I don't know, man. It's not just a business relationship, and I love that about
Yeah.
you, man.
No,
It's
absolutely, man. You've been huge for my career. Huge for my career. I mean, you remember whenever I first started, right? I mean,
I
we were
remember the
still
first time I
figuring it
met you,
out.
dude. I remember.
Yes, sir. We
Good
were
stuff.
still figuring it out.
Yeah.
So things have changed, and obviously, too, I'll say this to the investors. I think in the past 3 years, we've seen the craziest insurance market most of us have ever seen in our lives, right? I mean, I think from 2022 to 2025, insurance rates were increasing 30% every year
Oh
for
yeah.
people's renewals. It was
Mhm.
bananas. Finally, things have started to calm down. My carriers, at least their appetite is open and they're ready to take on that new business. So, I'll say that too. Like, I know the past 3 years have been kind of a reckoning, probably even a better time to call me, right? We
Nice.
probably have something that will absolutely slash what you're paying, and maybe we'll even get better coverage with it as well.
Nice. Well, man, I think we're gonna get this in front of everybody, and everybody reach out to Jory right away. Whether it's for you, like I said, my brother's with him. My father-in-law has called him. I've got my mother-in-law in the wings, just waiting.
Yep.
It's I don't know, man. I'm your biggest fan. I love you.
I appreciate it.
I
No,
do.
I appreciate it, Steve. I really do, man. And all of your clients you've ever seen are amazing. But it's fun, like we said. It's fun when things work out well. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to help you guys. And obviously, the sponsorships are just fun to be at, right? It's
Well,
good to
for
meet
sure,
new
man.
people,
Yeah.
and it's always a good time. So I really appreciate y'all letting me be involved. Everybody, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I will say, feel free to pick up the phone and call me. But also my email, my phone number's there. I know we're all busy. Feel free to shoot me a text or an email, but I'm a really easy guy to get a hold of. You type in Jory, I should be the first Google that comes up. So it should be there.
That's
We pay
nice.
those search engines enough. So
Absolutely,
we'll
man.
see.
Absolutely. All right, brother. Well, we're gonna see you next month, right?
Absolutely. You'll see me
Perfect.
there.
All right, man. Well, we'll see you there, man. Thanks for doing this, brother.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Bye.